round of applause for Matt, Ryan, and Nick. So everyone's here because they're fans of DC Comics, Legends of Tomorrow, big show, big hit. Recently had the Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I'll start with Matt. How did it feel to kind of jump into all of that? I mean, I know you were involved a little bit before, but to...
Yeah, it was great. It was my first crossover. Nick had done one before, right? I think. Busting balls. But no, it was great. What's great as well is like John. Obviously, I have my own shows, Constantine, and then coming in on Arrow. Which is really, for me, kept the character alive. The Mark, those guys who brought me into Arrow, and then Phil Kramer and Mark bringing me onto Legends is the reason I'm still here and still playing this character, and getting to know him and him interacting with characters that one are not in the comic books. So we're making that up, which is always fun. And then, as you said, in the Arrowverse and doing Crisis has been great as well, to see how Johnny interacts with those other characters. And what's great, and I think we all know this anyway from the comics, is John, you could drop John anywhere, and he always holds his own, he's always got something to bring, and he's always got some mischief to get up to. So it was great fun. It's a crazy, crazy time, those crossovers, because you're literally working like 3 shows at the same time, and you're going from one set to another set to another set, and it's bonkers in terms of how they schedule it. And I don't know how they do it, but they do it really well, don't they?
I hate the crossover. I made a joke during one of our Legends episodes about how not to do the crossover. I ad-libbed it during a take and they used it. And then it became my identity during the crossover, is that I'm anti-crossover. Because it is a scheduling and logistical nightmare. Like, you don't understand, there's like 5 boards of like where everybody should be. It's chaos. But I like that I got the part of, I don't like the crossover.
That's fine. And I was going to ask you, Nick, so Legends has a lot more variable shooting, different times, different places. Does that help when you're transitioning to the crossover? The fact that y'all's shooting is a little bit different because you never know what time, place you're going to be taking.
Well, the year we didn't do the crossover, we ended up doing the Puppets episode. So like, we didn't have to do it. Like, something really great came from it that became we had a free episode, and that free episode was the puppet one. And in that puppet one, we were like doing children's songs, we were puppets. I don't even remember what the hell else we were, but it was an amazing, fun episode that we got to do, skipping it. And I think that's why I got jaded by it, because I was like, oh man, we need for some super weird
So you got left out, and that's why you're against it now.
Yeah, that's it. Just a chip on my shoulder.
So I'm going to move right into questions from the audience. If people want to pop up hands, or you can line up here, or I can just keep going. Oh, there we go.
Or filming
Oh man, I know exactly. Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
We can't, like, my favorite is something that hasn't aired yet, but it's a classic. I'm sorry, I can't.
No spoilers.
Spoiler alert!
Episode 14 may be the greatest episode of our series or the worst episode of our series. It's either going to make our show live forever or kill it on the spot. It is the ballsiest Legends episode ever is 14.
I think one of my favorite things is, at some points, trying to affect Nick by getting in an Al Pacino growl. Yeah. So if the camera's on Nick, not when it's on me, obviously, because I can't, but if it's on Nick, I'm like, I'm just making these noises, and he just
By the way,
cracks it.
it's one of my favorite things Matt does. I'm like, hey man, how would Pacino say that? Bait him. And he does a really great Pacino. You gotta do it.
No.
Come on.
So there's a chick plays tic-tac-toe down on 42nd, never loses, just like you, Kevin. It's the growl that gets Nick. When I do it, because John's got quite a growly voice anyway. He's a couple of semitones away from, Pacino growl.
Oh, you dip in.
So I dip in sometimes.
Do you feel like you would be interested in doing another Constantine show if the opportunity presented itself?
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what though? It's funny in this business, isn't it? One door closes and another door opens, or sometimes it just closes, and you're like. But no, I was disappointed with the show, but then I went and I got to go off and do a play on Broadway and do another TV show where I played a completely different character, and I'm still playing Constantine. So that's great. And what's great about doing it on Legends is, I know this might sound funny, but doing your own show, there's a lot of weight to carry. You're in every single scene. You're kind of really driving the whole thing, and that's great. But with Legends, it's an ensemble piece, and what's great is everybody takes up the mantle and drives at different times. So it's great that to be able to kind of really, when they do the John arcs, like the episode 5 that just came out now, the subplot is John's story, and really being able to drive with that, but then also being able to interact with other characters. I think that basically, I come from a theatre background, and I'm a team player, and I like dancing with other people. When you're on your own out there, dragging the whole thing up the cart, up the hill, so to speak, it's great in different ways, but it's not as fun. And on this show, we get to have a lot of fun and do the character stuff as well. What I would like to do is to do some kind of, is to carry on doing Legends and then do some kind of limited show as well somewhere along the line that you could just pop in and do an arc from the comics. But all those things are kind of, out there, and I'm just happy to still be playing this character 5 years after the show got cancelled and to be dancing with all these lot. It's just the best.
Who plays the best? Who wins in a fight? Danny Ruxpin or Bebo?
Bebo.
You know what? You might have just, if that was, Teddy Ruxpin. Can we get Teddy Ruxpin in the show?
We can't get that clear. There's no way to get that clear. By the way, when Bebo happened, I thought our show was over. We read the script, and we were just getting into a groove of finding our identity, and then we read Bebo, and we were standing in a pit, in an actual pit in the middle of the field. And all these dudes were throwing blue feathers, hands on us. I'm like, oh man, we had a good show going. I was really bummed out. And everybody was like, we don't know what's gonna happen. And then Bebo came out, and then it just separated us from everything on television. And it was a blessing in disguise. That's also our thing we fall back on when we do stuff that we're uncomfortable with. We're like, hey, Bebo worked. That's the bar.
You're going full Bebo.
Go full Bebo.
Anyone else?
Do you have the power over what your characters feel, what you're directing, and so is this something you'd like to see your film do, either stunt or story?
Yeah. I think the writers are really open on there, and it's great. The creative process on the show, I think, is unlike any I've worked on before, where it's very free and people are very open, and that's really kind of liberating.
Yeah, we're like a jam band at this point. When we do scenes, we don't rehearse. So when we're setting up the scene, we're all kind of just walking through it, just like talking like this through the scene and the action and not really giving it much. And then the first take is when we all see the scene for the first time. So I don't know, Matt's playing it this way with like a certain level of urgency, so it changes my reaction, which just changes Katie's and Brandon's, and but we all find the flow during the take, and as the scene progresses, we're just a jam band. We're just playing off each other, and it's a very rare thing to have, that kind of loose, like, creativity amongst a group of actors. So it's just a special thing that we get to do on this show.
There's a bunch of like improvising as well, you know, people throwing out one-liners, and a lot of that stuff makes it in, which is good, you know.
So kind of for both of you, the characters were established, not yours, but in the universe already when you joined the cast, Canary and everything. So how did it feel for you to kind of jump into these existing characters? And then same for you, because you joined them a little bit later when they were even more so.
Well, I guess for me it was just a matter of, I watched the first season, then I met with Greg Berlanti, and then Bill Clemmer and Mark Guggenheim, and we talked about it. My angle on it was like, I just wanted to be a regular person who became a superhero, and I wanted to play it like if you drop something off your kitchen counter and you catch it before it hits the ground, and how impressed with yourself you are. Like, that's how I wanted the character to be. Like he gets a superpower, and it's like, yes, like, did you see that? Like, that was sort of the angle I took, which was different than the established superheroes, which eventually keeps evolving as seasons go. Eventually, by the end of the show, I'll be playing Constantine.
Do some body swap and with comics and
CGI. CGI, man.
No, with Constantine, you know, I did feel kind of like the pressure at the beginning because, you know, it's such an iconic character, and I think in some, it was like voted the second or third most favorite comic book character of all times in some places. So, and I didn't really know that when I was auditioning for it, and then I got the role, and I was like, okay, you know, you don't want to let people down, but at the same time, you have to have a certain amount of freedom and say, do you know what, I got to bring myself to this and just do my thing, you know, and not concentrate too much on the pressure. And but I did feel that there, but he fits like a glove now, you know, or like a trench coat.
So your character, we established you went so far from the source material. Are you more comfortable with that now? You kind of made it your own and completely separate universe, and then the opposite, you're more true than other interpretations, we'll say? I'm not going to talk about that.
Don't mention the movie.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I think somebody said something that made sense.
get the hair color right, you're good. Yeah, no, I think, you know, you, whatever you're doing, you have to make a character yours. You know, if you're trying to play it as you think it should be played outside of yourself, you're already doomed. So you have to bring the character to you and work from there. And there were some bits with John that kind of clicked with me straight away, and then other bits that I had to work on. You know, and he's become his own beast now. As well, you know, he's popped up in all the other places. You know, I'm doing the animation stuff, and then with the storylines we're doing on Legends, what's great about it is we've never seen John in these situations before. You know, these aren't stories written in the comics, so we can refer them. This is John in new territory, so to speak, and that's really fun with an old twist on it because you have the Astra storylines and all those things going on. So yeah.
Kind of stepped on you, but
How dare you? I think where Nate is now is kind of just a natural progression of the show and how we make our show. So it's I don't know. For me, it's a matter of like just kind of getting that little joke and seeing that little like sparkle in everybody's eyes while we shoot. Like whoever I'm doing a scene with, I like to see like that little glimmer of joy, and that's kind of the direction I go. Whatever triggers a light in somebody's eyes is kind of where Nate goes. But it's mostly I'm just doing it for my co-star because I like to see them happy.
anybody here at the middle?
What is y'all's favorite episode of Legends of Tomorrow?
Vivo.
I've got two. Actually, there's two this season that are very special to me. Brandon's exit episode, which is a very special episode, which is 7. And then this season's 14, just based on the insanity of it.
Insane.
Which is a shitty answer because nobody's seen either episode.
I would say I have 2. I would say the same as Nick, 14, because, and at the time, you know, it's that thing that they would say, Nick was saying about Bebo. I'm like, is this okay? What am I doing to John Constantine? Is everyone going to, you know? But it was absolutely like hilarious. Some moments were hilarious. That and the episode that was just on, I think episode, was it 5?
Yeah, it was really
Katie Lawrence's episode. We got to play out the whole, that episode for me, as John, was kind of one of my favorites, yeah.
Next. I know I saw another hand just a moment ago. Over here? Or is she just stretching? Okay, back here?
If you have any superpower, even if it's not one that you have, what would it be?
I would have the power of Jeff Goldblum. You all know.
Matt knows I have a thing for Jeff Goldblum. I don't know what powers I would have. I would like the power of Tony Stark's role.
That's a great power.
Does that count?
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Also, I'd like to maybe like the power of like Aquaman, so when I go underwater, I don't have to use a scuba. You know?
Yeah.
Sarah?
Zara?
I think we had another one, right? Yep.
Do you guys miss the narration opening, or are you liking the new opening with the colorful?
The new opening's jarring, right? Yeah, it took a second. It took a second, but I think that's just the human condition. We don't like change. I think change is scary because we get comfortable. But when we saw it together in the trailer. They came into the trailer like, hey, here's the new opening. And we saw it. We're like, oh, that is way different. Like, that is very, very different. And then it just kind of grows on you and becomes a new opening.
It's funny because it almost becomes like obvious, doesn't it? Well, at first you're like, whoa, what is that? And then you're like, well, of course it's got to be so, because it's Legends, you know? Like the new poster is just like awesome, you know? Like the last one was awesome, and the way that they changed the style of it, and you know, it's just great.
So do you hate it? Is that your thing?
I think.
Be honest.
I think it's a little bit over the top. I like Flashes. Flashes is really nice, but I think it just looks more like, you know, for a show that's about a rock band. Which I guess that's what Legend is.
I think you just went through the circle.
I'll just try to make you love it there.
So we love it.
How can you know?
Yeah, for Matt, how differently did you have to approach the character of Constantine between live action and animated version?
Oh, it's great. You know, for all the animated, I just recorded them naked. The director of the animated did tell me that there is one voice actor that I don't know who it is, or he wouldn't name it, that does like to take his clothes off when he's in the booth, makes him feel freer. I didn't do that. Do you know what's great? It's the same thing. It's the same voice, and it's all about the people who write it. You know, John has a certain cadence and he has a certain rhythm, and they just nail it every time. And in the booth, it's great. You can turn up in your pajamas. You know, I can have a beard. I don't have to wear a trench coat, dye my hair. So it's really cool. And actually, to do a plug, there's a new Justice League Dark animation movie. Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and I know that the premiere is on the, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be saying this, I think it's fine. On the 10th of April is the premiere. I don't know when it's out, but it is, it's cool. And I think it's the last one of all of the animation series that Warner Brothers has been doing with Justice League and all of that. It's really, really cool. I don't know if I answered the questions, right? I think I did, yeah.
I'm in the suit this year. We hang out too much together. Me and Adam had this thing every time I'm in the suit. He goes, I think this is the first time I've seen you in that suit. And I'm like, is it? He's like, yeah. And then somebody
Who's last season, wasn't it? It's like, oh yeah.
And then every time I wear the suit, he's like, this is the first time I've seen you in the suit. But yeah, we bring the suit back, which by the way, the suits got dated because the way the material, they make them now, it's far superior. If I breathe, it squeaks. So if I move an arm, it's like a big squeak. So any sort of movement is like, you ruin the dialogue. So people are talking and I'm holding my breath. Because it's like, eat. TV.
I think I saw right up here.
Yeah. One question for you, Nick. What was it like playing a hemophiliac?
I was trying to be completely respectful to it and realizing that there wasn't a voice for it prior, and nor is it really represented prior. I mean, I don't really recall any sort of hemophilia being like portrayed in television. So for me, it was like kind of like a badge of honor to do that for the group of people who do have it. So I try to respect it and also experience the joy of it being like that burden being lifted off a character after like living with it his whole life, you know? But, yeah.
A reference to when you were here last time, Matt. Have you gone to get your Whataburger yet?
I got my Whataburger. But the thing was this, right? It's like I didn't know it was called What a Burger. Americans say Whataburger. It's like a water burger. How can you make a burger out of water? I was confused about this, and then ended up at 3 o'clock in the morning at Whataburger, and I gotta say, what a burger it is.
What the hell happened that night? But I heard several people be like, "What a burger!"
Yeah, it's almost become like a verb.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them the backstory for those that don't?
Oh, so basically, after was it the last 3 years ago on the Saturday night, and we were having some drinks in the bar, and it got late, and there was no food, and I was starving. And then somebody said, like, hey, you know, there's this place down the road, a burger joint called Whataburger. So, you know, we proceeded there. Me questioning the whole way. A burger to be made out of water. The whole conversation. And then I ended up having one. There's loads of people around. I remember just sitting around with everyone, having a Whataburger about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Just like this.
Just like this. Just eat the burger. It's great.
Right up here in the middle.
Nick, Hank, your father, was also played by Thomas Wilson, who played Biff in Back to the Future. Anybody ever tease him about that?
Did anybody what?
Ever tease Thomas Wilson about his character Biff from Back
First
to
of all,
the Future?
you don't mess with Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson is a very big man. There was one night we were working, and he goes, "Yeah, you're in shape." He's like, "But I can still F you up." And I looked at him, I was like, "I believe you." Tom's a great guy, which like Tom's got this like what a blessed gift and a curse to such a multi-talented man like Tom. Because Tom's an artist, like he's a singer, he's an actor. He's just known as the guy who yells butthead. It's so unfair to the person. And I understand his plight. His plight is he's this multi-talented person, and he could be having a bad day, and somebody runs up to him at the airport and starts screaming butthead. Like, that's not fun. That's a hard spot to be in. And especially like a guy as talented and complicated as Tom, and complicated in a very good way. And it was nice to get to know that side of him, and also like that side of the business where it's like it is a gift to play Biff, but there's also a curse that comes with it, and he dances that line very well, very, very well, and he has parameters, and I learned a lot from him. Don't shout taglines at your favorite actors. Right. They maybe get upset.
No.
But long live Tom Wilson.
Right here. Oh.
Kim. Hi, Kim. Hi, Kim. Hey, girl.
Constantine for DVD for us. We're just grateful, but we want to know why we never see John fully smoke on DW.
What?
I mean, like you look at it now. There was a time when we were doing the NBC show where obviously it was network television, and they didn't say that I couldn't smoke. So I was smoking, and then they were cutting around it in the editing room. So it looked as if I wasn't smoking. And then all the fans went nuts and said, why aren't you smoking? I'm like, I am smoking. But so I learned the trick, which was just leave the cigarette in my mouth. And then they can't cut around me. But that was NBC, and that was 5 years ago then, you know? And even it was difficult then to do it. On the CW now, I mean, unless you're on cable or in a movie, people don't want to, they just don't want to see it, you know? And I can understand as well. Look, from my point of view, I don't want to be promoting smoking to anybody, especially a younger generation. But then as an actor who's true to a character, I'm like, my job is to do that, you know? So it's a very weird dualistic thing that I have with the smoking thing with John Constantine, because of where he's being, who's viewing him, and you know, where it's being put out there. But you know, I mean, we try and work around it and do the best we can, but I don't think we'll ever be allowed to do that on most networks, and that's kind of okay with me, really, you know. I just wish that there was a world in which you run off and do a 6-episode, you know, HBO Max version where there's swearing and lots of sex.
So we got about 5 minutes left, so we have 5 minutes left.
Just so you know, it's a 17-hour day. Like, it's a long day to describe. However, our last episode, I got to dress a little differently, and I was in a bit of a costume. And Maddie and I share a trailer, and I looked very different and very intimidating. And I think I knew Maddie was asleep. I banged on his trailer door. And he's like, come in. And I opened the door, and I stormed in. I didn't say anything. I was like, I was like, oh my God, that got me. But the thing is, he really did that, and I was the only one who saw it. It was the greatest. God, I missed that day.
I like napping, right? So like, you know, if I can, I'll try and have a little 5-minute nap, 10-minute nap, you know, in between if they're doing a different shot or something. But so I'm taking a nap, and you don't really go deep into sleep. You're just there, you know. You wake up and you see Nick rushing towards you. That's like in my mind right now. Now, the days, they change all the time, because there's always different locations, different scenes and all that. But generally, you know, there's a lot of time on set, and a lot of us kind of working hard, sitting around, preparing lines, eating food, taking naps. I mean, it's hard to say.
We're at a point now where we talk about kitchen islands. It's true. Jess, who plays Ava, she loves kitchen islands. She'll talk about a kitchen island as long as you talk about a kitchen island. That's kind of like a day at Legends. It's real estate, kitchen islands, scaring each other.
Episode 14, this mysterious episode 14 you keep referencing. Do y'all have anything outside of the Legends that y'all kind of want to plug real quick and get the word out?
Yeah, there's this movie coming out called Adverse with Thomas Nicholas, who's the actor who's one of the guys in American Pie. He plays one of the leads, and Mickey Rourke and Lou Diamond Phillips. And I have a small role in it. I was shooting Legend at the time, but travelling down to LA to do a few days on it. And the premiere of that was actually last night in Portugal, and that should be out soon, so keep an eye out for that, Adverse. And then also the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, whenever that's out. But that's going to be a good one. Yeah. And then to keep watching Legends every week, you know, because each episode's different, as you know.
Yeah, Brandon's Goodbye is a great episode for everybody. And a way emotional episode, as you can imagine. But done in like the most Legends like way, the way two friends would say goodbye. And it's gut-wrenching and like as painful as it sounds in your head, it's like more painful to like watch. But it's also like such proper closure to a relationship that deserves that kind of closure.
That's 7, right?
7 to 14. 7 to 14. We didn't do episode 21, so there's no 7 pattern. Zara?
So we'll go ahead and let them get back to their tables. You'll be over at the Bay Center for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
Come take pictures, come get autographs.
Come say hi. Thanks for
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.